Welcome to this week's Boomerang, bringing you the latest music, the latest news from the West Lothian Courier, as always. I'm Bob. Tonight our engineer is Joyce, and we have...
Good evening, it's Linda.
Wendy.
And George.
And as always, we'll start off with the lead story from this week's West Lothian Courier. Police hunt hit-and-run driver. Old-age pensioner dies in biker crash horror. An 81-year-old with a Zimmer dies after an incident, and this is an article by Debbie Hall. Police have launched a manhunt after an old-age pensioner died following a horror hit-and-run. The 81-year-old was crossing the road with his Zimmer frame in Blackburn on Friday when he was struck by a motorcyclist. The pensioner was rushed to Edinburgh Royal Infirmary, but sadly died on Tuesday. People in Blackburn expressed their shock at the accident and urged the motorcyclist to do the right thing and turn themselves in. Sergeant Jen Niven from Road Policing said officers were following a positive line of inquiry. She added, "Our thoughts are with the man's family and friends at this difficult time." An 81-year-old man has died in hospital following a horror crash that saw him being struck by a motorbike as he crossed the road with a Zimmer frame. The tragic incident happened around 7:15 p.m. on Friday, July the 2nd, when the old-age pensioner was making his way over Bathgate Road with a walking frame and was hit by a motorcycle. It is understood that the rider left the motorbike and made off from the scene. The pensioner was rushed to the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh but sadly died on Tuesday. People in the area have expressed their shock and urged the motorcyclist to have a conscience and turn themselves in. One local said, "Poor guy just wanted to cross the road. Never expected not to get home." For a soul to have lived to 80 and have to die this way, cruel end. Another added, "What an awful and needless tragedy, made worse by the cowardice involved. Anyone with an ounce of decency or humanity would do the right thing." Another post read, "May he rest in peace. Thoughts with all his family and friends." Sergeant Jen Niven from Road Policing said, "Our thoughts are with the man's family and friends at this difficult time. We are following a positive line of inquiry and would urge anyone with information who has not yet spoken to police to please come forward. Anyone with information is asked to contact Police Scotland through 101 with reference number 3159 of 12th July.
Team Jack Turney raises £2,000, an article by Debbie Hall. An annual event in memory of a beloved West Lothian schoolboy has once again helped the families of young people with cancer and other serious illnesses. The Team Jack Football Festival was at West Calder High School before the end of term in honour of former pupil Jack Truman. Jack was just 15 when he lost his fight with delta T-cell lymphoma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Throughout his illness, Jack raised nearly £100,000 for various cancer charities including CLIC, Sick Kids Friends Foundation, Bloodwise and Comic Relief. Just before his passing in 2015, he unveiled his plans to support other young people who found themselves in a similar position to him. He called his charity Team Jack and tasked his mum, Alison Barr, with the job of building it and creating Jack's Den, a purpose-built respite centre aimed at providing emotional, social and practical support for young cancer patients and those with related illnesses and their families and friends. Since then, the charity has opened further centres and helped hundreds of families through fundraisers like the football festival. Jack's mum and CEO of the charity, Alison, said, We are incredibly grateful for such a special relationship between us and West Calder High, and it has been an absolute privilege once more to see how much work and effort went into making the day so special, with so many different departments taking part. Thank you so much to all the wonderful staff and pupils who worked so hard to make the day special. And a huge shout out must go particularly to the PE department, music department, tech department, home ec, and to Mr. Payne, Miss Watt, all SLT, and especially to Mrs. Sharp, the inspirational leader of the event, and Jack's maths teacher, who is an amazingly special lady. The amount of work put in from each and every one of you was phenomenal, and we are delighted to announce that with the outgoings taken off, we will clear over £2,000. So thank you to all of you and also the local businesses who sponsored some of the items. It was so lovely to also dedicate the day to one of our special angels, inspirational Mr. Morris, who sadly died at the beginning of the academic year and was hugely respected by all. An emotional yet inspiring day for all, and it was so lovely to see the whole school community come together and have fun whilst raising lots of money for our families. And there are lots of lovely photographs of the kids in their PE kit, and some of the kids have got their face painted with saltires.
Silver Screen Dream comes true for Dad. Film Festival launched by Bathgate graduate, an article by a staff reporter. When Christopher McPhillips returned to education in 2021, he hoped to inspire his newborn daughter. And now the 39-year-old Bathgate man is hoping he has a smash hit on his hands when he launches an annual West Lothian Film Festival. After graduating with a BA Honours Film and Media from Queen Margaret University, QMU, in July, he has received an award of £2,250 to launch the event. Christopher said the West Lothian Film Festival will offer a cinematic experience to be remembered, bringing drama, creativity and local connections together. It serves as a rallying point for filmmakers and residents alike, a celebration of the power of silver screen storytelling. Being from Bathgate myself, I know the significantly positive impact events like these will have on West Lothian and its residents. And this honestly wouldn't have been made possible without the support I received from Queen Margaret University and the extra stability that was invested in me by Santander Universities, as well as the local partnerships and sponsorships with, to name a few, Let's Rock the Spectrum, Firefly Arts, the Scottish Institute of Theatre, Dance, Film and Television, the Kilt Studio, Clifton Hall School, BBB Talent Agency, Set Starters and Scottish Youth Film Foundation. Around 10 local councillors have also supported the film festival, and Hannah Bardell personally sponsored the Best TV Series category. Made possible by an extended partnership between QMU and Santander Universities, the inaugural festival will take place on July the 20th and 21st at the View Cinema in Livingston, with many of the films produced by QMU students and graduates or filmed at the university itself. The festival, which was born from the dreams of its film enthusiast founder, with a passion to transform his idea into a tangible reality, aims to embody Christopher's commitments to bridging the gap between aspiring filmmakers and the enthusiastic audiences who welcome a new cultural experience. Of the investment he received, he continued, the fund allowed me to organise the venue, source the judging panel and other volunteers, initiate the marketing and so much more. I'm proud that our festival can now be the platform that has been yearned for in West Lothian for so long. Not having the necessary grades to apply for university while at school, Christopher decided to return to education in 2021, driven by his newfound love of film production, encouragement from his wife, who was also a QMU graduate, and the desire to inspire his newborn daughter. He decided to study marketing communications at West Lothian College, which then allowed him to directly transfer into the second year of the BA Honours Film and Media course at QMU, providing him with new skills and a renewed drive to progress his dreams. It was there that he cultivated the idea for a festival in his local area that would celebrate the world of film. When one of his university lecturers informed him of the possible support available from the Santander Universities Fund, he could visualise his dreams turning into reality. His application was successful, and after a lot of hard work, Christopher's plans for the first West Lothian Film Festival began to take shape. Each year since 2007, Santander has donated funds accumulating to more than £1.5 million to its inaugural partner, Queen Margaret University, to help with student success and progression. The main aim of the partnership is to provide support for students who are most likely to face challenges when attending higher education. Santander's support focuses on education, employability and entrepreneurship, helping to fund student startups, scholarships, internships and international educational experiences. Thomas Kelly, Head of Development and Alumni at QMU, said, "Our partnership with Santander Universities is key to enhancing the opportunities our students receive whilst at QMU. This support will not only help Christopher to achieve one of his ambitions, but will also allow the people of West Lothian to enjoy a new cultural festival within their area. I'd like to thank Santander Universities for their continued support, and I wish the best of luck to Christopher. We're looking forward to seeing what you go on to achieve." Some of the screenings that West Lothian can look forward to include Are You Going My Way, directed by Rachel McBrinn, Control, directed by Jean Falaise, Le Shield, Together, directed by Roy Nick and Beata, Shell, directed by Gerlof Grizel, Carsick, directed by David Heyman Jr., Sunday Service, directed by QMU student Ailey Thompson, Into the Valley, directed by Emily Sandifer, and The Proposal, directed by QMU student Eli Forbes. Eli Forbes, Accent Film Productions, Robin DeVernon Riding, Fulfilment Pictures, and Mitchell Ronald, Apple Tree Pictures, will be the panel discussion members to discuss their careers thus far. The cast of The Proposal, all QMU students, will be performing a live table read with a Q&A afterwards, and Vito Milazzo, The Bowling Green, will be conducting a directing masterclass with a bespoke filmed piece of content for the West Lothian Film Festival. Find out more about the film festival at www.westlothianfilmfestival.scot or order your tickets via www.filmfreeway.com/West Lothian FF/tickets.
Pupils Show Off Pet Project, an article by Debbie Hall. Pupils at Bridgend Primary hosted a successful event for parents and partners at the end of term that saw them visit the school to learn about their social enterprise project. The pupils set up a small business called Bridgend Pet Supplies, where they created a range of pet products to sell. The money from their enterprise will then be used to develop their local community. The project has allowed the children to develop their business skills, giving them the chance to lead their own learning and showcase their talents. It has been a huge success with all the youngsters. The pupils also were invited along to the Social Enterprise Awards ceremony at the Assembly Rooms in Edinburgh, where they were presented with an award for their business. Steph Stutt, acting deputy head, said the pupils at the school had developed their entrepreneurial skills and showed that they are creative, confident individuals. We are so proud of what they have achieved so far and know that the connections they have made through our event today will allow these skills to grow even more.
Questions over outdoor class project, and this is an article by Stuart Somerville. West Lothian high schools will create outdoor classrooms to offer pupils first-hand experience of biodiversity and ecology. But some councillors have questioned why all senior schools can't take part in the £18,000 pilot project and one suggested that the two Winchborough schools involved already had the classroom on their doorstep with the development of Old Cathay Park, destined to be the largest district park and woodland in Scotland. In a report to the Council's Environment and Sustainability Policy Development and Scrutiny panel, Callum McLaren, an Ecology and Biodiversity Officer with the local authority, said, "We propose to increase biodiversity awareness and provide access to nature across West Lothian's education facilities by working with the Learning for Sustainability Partnership Group to deliver a small outdoor learning environment. We are aiming to support practitioners with interpreting and understanding how biodiversity and ecological processes relate to sustainable development goals. A pilot project looking at creating a number of access to nature spaces within the grounds of up to 7 education facilities that will be of benefit to a total of up to 34 schools. The access to nature space will create an area within the grounds of the school which will offer an opportunity for outdoor learning. Planting of the sites will be done in connection with the schools, supported by parks and woodland staff within the planting period of autumn 2024 and spring to autumn 2025. The report said to ensure long-term success as part of the maintenance programme for the site, a contractor will be employed to hand weed the site in the summer following planting for a total of 5 years. This will be paid for from the Ecology and Biodiversity Capital Funds. The decision on which schools would take part was made by Education Officers. Councillor Tom Conn, chairing the meeting, asked why all 12 high schools had not been marked for the pilot project. Mr. McLaren said he understood the decision had been made on the most practical schools which would benefit the most feeder primaries. Winchborough Councillor Diane Calder thanked the Biodiversity and Ecology for their work and added, "I really question this project. Are we overcomplicating things with this?" I would say, I think you are, dear. She questioned the need for the spend within the school grounds, particularly on the new joint campus for Winchborough and Sinclair Academies. The first phase of Old Cathay Park has been completed adjacent to the schools. The park will eventually be one of the largest in Scotland, more than twice the size of Princess Street Gardens in Edinburgh. Heavens! Play areas, park runs, circuits and community growing areas have already been developed. The whole project is a byword for greening and improving ecology and biodiversity of what was for years a landfill site for the city of Edinburgh. Councillor Calder said it's £18,000. We have beautiful parks. We have Old Cathay Park, which is going to spring up next to the schools in Winchborough. Mr. McLaren's report concluded, officers will gauge the effectiveness of the scheme and, should it be deemed successful, decide how best to expand this more widely in association with education services, subject to agreement and funds being in place. It is hoped that this will be a first step in increasing biodiversity potential within school grounds and that we foster a nature-positive attitude across West Lothian. The proposal will help West Lothian Council tackle the climate and nature crisis and reduce inequalities faced by young people through providing a more consistent resource for practitioners to make use of. Enhancing school grounds to benefit nature will also support our future nature networks, as they will provide useful stepping stone habitats for species. Councillors backed the proposals.
Hundreds a day needing food support, an article by Stuart Somerville. Hundreds of people a day rely on the West Lothian Food Network for meals, operators have said. In the first 3 months of the last financial year, almost 4,000 people used the support service. That quarterly figure is more than the numbers relying on help pre-pandemic, which prompted the launch of the service. Now, as it prepares to establish itself as an independent charity, it is facing ever-growing demands from local people struggling with the cost of living crisis. In the last year, it helped more than 73,000 people in the county with food support, more than 6,000 a month and around 200 every day on average. The network was set up only a month before the lockdown in 2020 to address a huge problem of food poverty in the county. The onset of the pandemic and immediate lockdown of the country was a baptism of fire for the charity groups involved in supplying hot meals to the housebound as well as foodstuffs. Nationally, the respected Joseph Rowntree Foundation says that more than 14 million people are now living in poverty in the UK, 4 million of those being children. The reliance on food banks and other sources such as the Food Network has grown hugely in the last few years. In West Lothian, the Food Network is a coalition of charities, community groups and social enterprises with the key aim to support food insecurity within the community and is a collaboration of 19 member organisations. Member organisations offer a wide range of support, including educational cooking classes, community shops and cafes, larders, drop-in pantries. They distribute cooked meals. They have community fridges, debt and welfare advice, anti-poverty service referrals and food vouchers or parcels within local communities, providing place-based support. From April 1st, 2023 to March the 31st, 2024, the network members provided food support to 73,196 people. The average age of those being supported is between 40 and 50. Of those being supported, 62% are unemployed and or on benefits. 35% of those accessing food support are single adults and 16% are a two-adult household. During the last year, the voluntary sector Gateway, VSG, has continued to support the network and its members by providing independent governance support to the network. The VSG receives and pays out funds on behalf of the Food Network until the Scottish Charitable Independent Organisation is established as a legal registered entity and has its own bank account. That establishment is set to be conferred by the end of the year and possibly as early as August. The VSG and the network have worked in collaboration with the support of West Lothian Council, particularly the Anti-Poverty Service. In 2023-24, West Lothian Council provided the Food Network with £280,000 of funding to support those most in need. West Lothian Council has supported the network from the outset with emergency funding in 2020 and with almost £2 million of funding from April 2021 to March this year. Speaking at a recent meeting of the Economy, Community Empowerment and Wealth Building Policy Development and Scrutiny Panel, Alan McCloskey praised the work of volunteers in the Food Network and across services provided under the auspices of the VSG generally. The report highlights the incredible amount of work volunteers do, he told councillors. Food poverty has been a problem in West Lothian long before the COVID lockdown. Many people were already having to turn to emergency food provision, such as food banks, to ensure they could put food on the table. West Lothian food banks, supported by the council, had already grown to meet existing demand. The Food Network brought more groups together. Between April 2018 and March 2019, almost 3,000 West Lothian Food Bank vouchers were issued to individuals and families to keep them from going hungry. A number of organisations and projects had been set up across the county working to address food insecurity. Innovative community initiatives such as communal fridges and pantries, shared meals and communal gardens were already helping to provide an invaluable lifeline to people struggling to keep their head above water.
New bar is not a drag for Subo, an article by Debbie Hall. Superstar Susan Boyle joined customers in raising a glass to a stylish new bar and restaurant in Livingston. Cafe Bar 1962 opened its doors at Livingston Designer Outlet last week, marking the third cafe bar location to open and the first within a shopping centre. Subo had a great time supporting the family-run business, which also boasts the popular Cafe Bar 1912 in Bathgate. The Blackburn singer partied the night away, joined by drag queens, dancers and a DJ set. The new eatery is not just another dining spot. It combines the best elements of a restaurant and bar, promising a unique and vibrant experience where visitors can dine, drink or simply enjoy great company and live music. Cafe Bar 1962 is part of a family-owned establishment, known for its dedication to quality, local sourcing and a passion for creating vibrant, welcoming spaces. The journey began 45 years ago with the award-winning David Steen Butchers in Bathgate and Blackburn. The quest to serve up quality food continued with the opening of Cafe Bar 1912 in Bathgate in 2013, known for its exceptional cocktails, live music and delicious meals using the finest meats from the family butchers. Today, Cafe Bar 1962 continues this legacy, expanding the culinary offering and providing outstanding food and drink experiences at Livingston Designer Outlet.
Praise for dedicated local hero, an article by Debbie Hall. The Centre Livingston presented Angela Greenberg with a very worthy volunteer award in recognition of her outstanding work helping out in a local garden in Whitehill Industrial Estate in Bathgate, which provides food and vegetables to West Lothian Food Bank. The volunteer awards were established by the Centre Livingston with the aim of paying tribute to people who had gone the extra mile in the community and reward them with a framed, personalised certificate and £100 gift card which can be spent in over 90 stores and all restaurants in the shopping centre. The latest nomination was submitted by the head gardener, Colin Palmer, who runs the fruit and vegetable garden for West Lothian Food Bank, highlighting the outstanding work done by Angela, who is the longest-serving volunteer, and her dedication and commitment to their community projects. At least twice a week for the past 3 years, regardless of the weather, Angela has helped produce fresh fruit for people experiencing food insecurity at West Lothian Food Bank, and also creates a tranquil, welcoming space in the garden for people to enjoy. The garden, which opened in June 2022, was built to provide a sustainable supply of fresh produce for people in crisis within West Lothian, and has produced over 12 tonnes of fresh produce over the last 2 years, including potatoes, tomatoes, strawberries and courgettes. Angela said, "I'm delighted to win this volunteer award and want to say a big thank you to the Centre Livingston for presenting it to me and to Colin for the lovely nomination. Working in the garden has always been a joy for me. It really is a privilege to be able to support the local community." Colin said, "I couldn't make this project work without the support of volunteers. I feel blessed to have both the garden and the support of kind individuals like Angela. Every week she comes in with the same enthusiasm as she had on her first day. She really cares about the project and helping people in the community, and has always been a fantastic support for me over the years." I'm thrilled that she won the Volunteer Award, which shows just how wonderful she is and how much she is appreciated. Patrick Robertsi, Centre Director at the Centre Livingston, said, "It was an honour to find out more about the garden Colin runs for the West Lothian Food Bank and the great work being done by volunteers like Angela, who is very deserving of our Community Volunteer Award. If you know anyone in the local community who is also going the extra mile to help others, let us know so that we can help shine a light on them and reward them with a certificate and £100 gift card. If you know someone you'd like to nominate for a volunteer award, send an email to inquiries@thecentrelivingston.com along with the reason for your nomination."
Now, this week's intimations, which as always are deaths. Sheena Bowman, née Scott, 15/9/1931 to 27/6/2024. In loving memory of our amazing mother, Sheena Bowman, a kind, caring, devoted and well-known member of the community, sadly passed away. Sheena, much-loved wife of Albert Bowman, mother of Sheena and Stuart, and loving grandmother of Liam and Ryan. Donations in lieu of flowers to Alzheimer's Scotland and Bathgate High Parish Church in memory of Sheena. Janet McQueen, or Jenny, 24/3/1924, 4/7/2024. Peacefully at Woodlands Nursing Home on Thursday, July the 4th, 2024, Jenny, aged 100 years, beloved wife to the late John, and a treasured mother, grandmother, great and great-great-grandmother, will be deeply missed by all who knew her. Donations towards Woodlands Nursing Home in lieu of flowers. And we'll continue now with the local news. Concerns over plans for short-term lets. And this is an article by Stuart Somerville. Concerns have been raised over plans to convert former offices in the centre of Bathgate into 25 short-term let flats. The town's community council and a local councillor expressed concern that this is the third similar development in the town inside a year. Councillor Pauline Stafford said planners had backed the proposal without any discernible uptick in demand from tourists and leisure visitors to the town, and voiced fears that the building would become homeless accommodation. AHA Units 21 Let Limited asked for planning permission for change of use of office buildings to form 25 short-term let flats and 1 unit for storage and distribution use with associated alterations to buildings at the former Dacol Computer Distributor Limited in Gardeners Lane, Bathgate. A report to this month's Development Management Committee said the former offices are to be converted into 25 self-contained flatted units over 4 floors, each with ensuite facilities and kitchen facilities. The short-term apartments will be booked via an online application, and access to them will be via a keyless entry system. The operator will provide a professional housekeeping service, including cleaning of apartments, providing fresh bedding and towels between apartment bookings, including any necessary repairs and maintenance. Planners said the proposal was within the planning framework and would support development in the town. A report to the committee added, the proposal would attract visitors to the town centre and surrounding areas. Right. This in turn would help support local businesses and enhance the town centre and local area by tourism. At the meeting, Councillor Stafford echoed concerns of the Community Council that this would be the third similar development within a stone's throw of others in the town recently. Former flats above the 1912 Cafe Bar in South Bridge Street were granted permission for conversion into short-term let rooms earlier this year. Last year, plans were granted to convert the former social work headquarters in Whitburn Road into basic hotel accommodation for homeless people. Councillor Lawrence Fitzpatrick told the meeting, taking on board Councillor Stafford's points, I think we should include in the planning conditions that if any of these dwellings move to mainstream lets, a planning application would be required, and also that a log should be kept for occupants and their length of occupancy, with the council having rights to inspect that paperwork on demand. Councillor Stafford said, I was going to say the same thing, so we would agree on that. This is an unused building at the moment, and it will be good to see it come back into use. But I am concerned that we've had 3 similar applications of the same nature concentrated within a literal stone's throw of each other, and one of which openly said it would probably be used as homeless accommodation. My concern is that there's becoming a concentration of this in Bathgate Town Centre. If we could have some assurance through a log about its use, that would be great.
Bank of Scotland announces the closure of its Linlithgow branch. This is an unattributed article. West Lothian residents are set to have one of the last few remaining banks in the area snatched away as Bank of Scotland has announced the pending closure of its Linlithgow branch. In May, we reported how West Lothian Council asked NatWest to maintain Bathgate's Royal Bank of Scotland due to the lack of available options for nearby residents. Now, Bank of Scotland has announced the closure of its Linlithgow branch on Blackness Road in February 2025. Bosses say the decision has been made to customers using mobile and internet banking instead of visiting in person. Bank branches across the UK have been a victim of the digital age in recent years, with Royal Bank of Scotland also closing the majority of its Edinburgh branches due to changing customer habits. Justifying their decision, Bank of Scotland posted a closure review online saying, before we close any branch, we look at how our customers are managing their money and using the branch. Most customers are now using our mobile banking app, internet banking, or calling us instead. This means they are using branches, including our Linlithgow branch, much less. Because of this, we'll be closing our Linlithgow branch. The Bank of Scotland also noticed customers' nearest branch following the closure will be in Grangemouth or Falkirk High Street. More details on the closure and alternative ways to bank can be found online.
Zoo utterly devastated as Yampel passes away. Black bear rescued from war zone dies. An article by Debbie Hall. A beloved bear rescued from a zoo in Ukraine who was living at a West Lothian zoo has passed away, leaving staff utterly devastated. Yampel, an Asiatic black bear, died following an anaesthetic procedure. The 12-year-old animal was rescued from an abandoned zoo in Ukraine and was one of only 7 creatures that survived. Vets at the Five Sisters Zoo in West Calder said Yampel was dealing with complicated health problems from traumatic circumstances. After concerns were raised, he underwent a procedure and didn't recover. Romaine Peasy, a specialist vet at Five Sisters Zoo, said, "We're utterly devastated to confirm that Yampel, our 12-year-old Asiatic black bear, has passed away following an anaesthetic procedure. Yampol was one of 7 surviving animals rescued from an abandoned zoo in Ukraine, a lesser-known tragedy of human conflict. Despite being comfortable and happy here, Yampol, like many animals rescued from traumatic circumstances, can suffer from complicated health problems such as dental problems or PTSD. Yampol was anaesthetised for further treatment for his health problems, which were worrying the team. Sadly, anaesthetising animals always carries risks, and Yampol did not recover from the procedure. We are all deeply affected by the loss of our beloved Yampol. We appreciate that this will be a truly sad day for all the incredible people who helped make his rescue possible. While the zoo will remain open as usual, we kindly request respect and privacy for our owners and staff during this difficult time. Locals were quick to express their sadness on the zoo's Facebook page. One user commented, "Oh, this is so sad, but he had the best time at Five Sisters and was so well looked after. R.I.P. Yampol." A second added, "Oh, that's awful. How sad for you all after doing your best to rescue him. You've given him an amazing 2 years after his trauma, and you should be proud of that. Thinking of all your staff at the sad time." A third posted, "R.I.P. Yampol, heartbreaking. Glad I had the privilege of meeting and seeing you in your new home before you left us too soon. Big hugs and thoughts to all at Five Sisters Zoo. You gave him the best last years and freedom he could have hoped for."
No scrapyard ruling as car sales lot to stay. It's an article by Stuart Somerville. Plans to retain the prominent village site of a former hotel as a car sales lot has been backed in an appeal to the Scottish Government. It brings to an end almost a decade of wrangling over the main street frontage in Winchborough. But conditions have been imposed on the owner to ensure the area does not become a scrapyard. A reporter for the Division of Environmental and Planning Appeals, DPEA, found in favour of the owner, Andrew Nisbet's proposed new boundary fencing around the site at 35 to 37 Main Street, with trees and planters in addition to a new wall and fencing in order to improve the street frontage and aid landscaping and screening of the site. The site will be used to sell vans and commercial vehicles. It is on a prominent point of the road through the village that was occupied by the Star and Garter Hotel until its demolition. DPEA reporter Robert Seaton allowed the appeal with added conditions on the types of vehicles to be stored and the finish of the boundary wall and tree planting. He said Winchborough Community Council objected partly on the basis of that car wrecks were stored on the site during the previous temporary use. I can understand that this would have an adverse effect on visual amenity. The site should not be allowed for storage of any vehicle awaiting repair or in a condition in which it could not lawfully be driven on a public road. The DPEA findings added, the applicant has reduced the number of vehicles to be displayed from 35 to 23. Improvements are proposed to the boundary treatment of the site as it faces on the main street and Station Road. The new wall and planters would reduce the starkness of the view of parked vehicles. The vehicles would be parked somewhat further back from the site's prominent boundaries to the south and east and would be contained within the proposed wall. These conditions appear to me to be capable in principle of reducing visual dominance of the use. The reporter added, I agree with Winchborough's Development Limited that the vagueness of the proposal for planter risks a due minimum scheme being implemented. However, it seemed to me that the appellant's proposals would be capable of softening the visual impact of the proposed development if properly designed. Details of the planters and the tree species and sizes to be planted can be made subject to approval under a pre-commencement condition. A condition would also be required for retention of the trees and for replacement of trees that fall. Mr. Seaton concluded, subject to appropriate design for the treatment, the use of the site as proposed would, in my opinion, improve the appearance of the street when compared with the site remaining vacant and its present condition. Councillor Tom Conn thanked Planning Officer Wendy McCroston for outlining the findings of the appeal. He told the July meeting of the Development Management Committee last week, I'm a bit surprised at the reporter's decision, but if the conditions are stringently applied, then hopefully it will maintain or improve the area of Main Street, Winchborough. Council planners had recommended refusal of the latest plan earlier this year. The Village Community Council and Winchborough Development Limited, the company overseeing the development of Winchborough into a small town, had objected to new plans by AN Scottish Commercials Limited to use the Main Street lot to sell commercial vehicles in April. Planners had backed 2021 proposals from Mr. Nisbet to build 4 flats on the site, which sits at the heart of the old village Main Street, now being upgraded to complement the rapidly expanding community. In April, planning officers told the Development Management Committee the site's retention as a vehicle sales lot would have an adverse impact on the residential and environmental amenity of the area. In a report to that meeting in April, planners said, it is the principle of the development that it is unacceptable. The development is incompatible with the surrounding village uses due to the industrial scale and character of development. The proposed use would not result in a satisfactory visual street scene environment. The Star and Garter was demolished in the 1990s and the site has been used for vehicle storage since 2015. The firm was told to clear the site of vehicles after a planning application failed in 2019. A subsequent appeal to the Scottish Government Department of Planning and Environment Appeals on that application also failed.
New appointments at West Lothian College, and this is a non-attributable article. There have been some changes in management at West Lothian College following the recent departure of 2 senior managers. Hazel Brady has been appointed as Vice Principal for Learning and Attainment. Previously Director of the college's Business, Creative and Enterprise Facility Faculty, she started her new role in June. She joined the college in 2006 as a business lecturer, moved on to a management post and was appointed Faculty Director in 2020. Before joining the college, Hazel worked at Scottish Television and BBC Scotland. Hazel has played an influential role in the leadership of high-quality learning and teaching at the college over many years, contributing to improved student satisfaction and success. She leads on the digital upskilling of staff, driving forward initiatives to improve digital capabilities that support improvement to learning, teaching and assessment. Hazel said, I love working at West Lothian College and I am delighted to be given this opportunity to lead on learning and attainment as Vice Principal. I am proud to be working with such a dedicated and passionate team who work together to ensure that our students reach their full potential. The college has an excellent reputation, offering a positive experience for our students. As a former West Lothian College student myself, I am committed to making a positive impact because I know how education can transform lives. Stephen Morrison was successful in being appointed Director of the Computing, Engineering and Built Environment faculty. He started at the college as an automotive assessor in 2011, became a lecturer in 2014 and took up a manager's position in 2021. In the past year, he has led on the use of the college's new Skills Centre for Sustainable Living and developing the Green Skills training area and curriculum. He said, "I'm thrilled to step into the role of Faculty Director for Computing, Engineering and Built Environment. From my roots as an automotive assessor to leading green skills initiatives, this journey has prepared me to embed innovation and sustainability into our courses. I'm eager to build on our success and shape the future of the faculty, providing opportunities for our students and communities to thrive." Lynn Bain is now the Director of Business, Creative and Enterprise faculty. Having also been a former student of West Lothian College, she joined the college in 2011 to implement an Education into Enterprise project that supported the development and employability skills of students. Following this, Lynn's responsibility have spanned working with employers, delivering vocational qualifications to people in work, and a number of management posts. Lynn also brings a wealth of knowledge and skills from her previous leadership roles in the private sector. Lynn said, "I'm absolutely delighted to be taking up the post of Faculty Director and look forward to driving forward our strategic goals and vision." Principal of West Lothian College, Jackie Galbraith, said, "These are excellent appointments for West Lothian College. Hazel, Stephen and Lynn are highly respected by everyone they work with, both within and out with the college. They are fully committed to the people, communities and businesses we serve in West Lothian, and I'm very excited about the great work they will do in the years ahead."
Care home could be part of Hospital Hub, an article by Stuart Somerville. Councillors have agreed to look at transforming a former West Lothian council-owned care home into a community hospital. Talks are underway with NHS Lothian for the Craigmere Care Home building in Craigshill to become part of a new Care of the Elderly hub for the county. The plan will streamline services and see the closure of 2 hospital sites in Linlithgow and Armadale. Following a decision at West Lothian Integration Joint Board in June 2023, Craigmere formally closed as a care home on March 31st, 2024. Councillors have now agreed the property is surplus to council requirements. West Lothian Council continues to operate 3 care homes, and there are no plans to close any of the remaining care homes. The council report confirmed that discussions have taken place with the NHS to explore opportunities for the NHS to lease the building and to utilise it for NHS purposes. These discussions will continue. Craigmere sits adjacent to existing care facilities for the elderly at Maple Villa in Larch Grove. Plans announced last August could see the creation of a single unit replacing the existing hospital sites. The Integration Joint Board proposals will see Tippett Hill Hospital in Armadale and St Michael's in Linlithgow, which has been shuttered for 3 years, close as community hospitals offering elderly care beds and dementia care. These will now be concentrated around a single campus, including existing facilities at Maple Villa and the redesigned Craigmere Care Home site. Councillors who had voted to delay the hospital closure decision accepted the proposed option to provide complex dementia care on one site through the co-location of Tippett Hill's Rosebery ward with Maple Villa on a new Craigshill Care campus. It will also provide frail elderly community hospital provision on the same site as Maple Villa in the Craigmere building, a care home which will be converted. The move comes as the Integration Joint Board has to make savings of more than £13 million in the next 3 years. Councillors on the Integration Joint Board, which oversees social care services provided by NHS Lothian and West Lothian Council, initially voted against approval of the hospital closure proposals in June last year. They were concerned that they did not have enough information on future provision to agree to the closure of 2 community hospital facilities, fearing a growing elderly population would see a resurgence of demand. Health officials produced statistics to show that changes based around a home-first care of the elderly model showed that hospital beds were needed on a fewer occasions and that in most cases, care of the elderly can be managed within the home setting. A report to the executive said, officers recommend that discussions with the NHS should continue over a potential lease of the premises, with a further report to be presented to a future meeting of the Council Executive should lease terms be agreed between officers and NHS colleagues. The report added that should no agreement be reached, the building should be sold in accordance with surplus property rules. Rather than keep unused buildings, West Lothian Council uses the proceeds from the sale or lease of unused properties to help fund future investments in infrastructure projects such as schools, parks, roads and care services for vulnerable people. The sale or lease of unused assets is therefore an important funding stream that allows us to continue to invest in other services. A meeting of the Council's executive also agreed to the demolition of our former nursery building in Broxburn. Kirkhill Nursery is no longer required, with modern new nursery facilities having been built at Kirkhill Primary School. Because of its location and age, officers recommended that the former Kirkhill Nursery be demolished as there is no opportunity for commercial use or development.
Food and Drink Guide served up to Lothian businesses, an unattributed article. A new guide has been launched to help businesses across the Lothians make the most of a growing demand for Scotland's culinary experiences. It comes as new research by the national tourism organisation Visit Scotland found that over a quarter, 26%, of visitors to the Lothians took part in a food and drink experience as part of their trip. The Scotland Visitor Survey 2023 aims to help understand why visitors take a holiday or short break in Scotland and how they rate their experiences when here. Findings revealed that almost half of visitors, 46%, to Scotland took part in at least one food and drink activity in addition to eating out during their trip last year, with nearly a fifth, 19%, of long-haul visitors now naming food and drink as the reason for choosing Scotland as a destination. To help Lothian businesses capitalise on this trend, Visit Scotland, in partnership with Scotland Food and Drink, has created a free industry guide. Hosted on visitscotland.org, the online guide contains information to ensure that businesses can cater for the interests and expectations of their visitors. Included as part of the free guide is practical advice on how businesses can create a quality food and drink tourism experience, market insight from Scotland Food and Drink and the Visit Scotland Visitor Survey 2023, marketing advice from creating social media content and working with influencers to collaborating with other businesses, local produce sourcing guidance, how to source and use more local produce and promote Scottish ingredients, case studies of businesses from across the country who have built a successful food and drink tourism experience, from creating an immersive dining experience to foraging tours and outdoor cooking. Useful resources, including upskilling and funding opportunities. Neil Christensen, Visit Scotland Regional Director, said, "Scotland's reputation for food and drink is exceptional, and Edinburgh and the Lothians is home to a diverse range of culinary delights from distilleries and farm shops to top-of-the-range restaurants and artisanal cafes. We know that promoting food and drink is a recipe for success, and this free resource on our visitscotland.org website will provide a clear and practical guide to help industry understand how to make the most of this growing demand for food and drink experiences. With particular demand for locally produced food and drink, developing this tourism offer can benefit those in the wider supply chain, supporting communities and the economy, as well as our own responsible tourism ambitions. Go to www.visitscotland.org.
SpaceX team in visit to new tech test hub by a staff reporter. A new tech testing facility in Bathgate is the first of its kind in Scotland. Connectivity and network specialists, the Claris Network Group, have opened the doors to their new connectivity demonstration centre. The brand new base in Bathgate has all the latest high-tech connectivity and has attracted attention from major companies, as well as creating 10 new jobs. It has already been used by partners from across the UK, including the NHS, East Ayrshire Council and BT, as well as SpaceX visiting from US, all eager to see the cutting-edge technology in action. The centre allows clients to fully test a network's capabilities, including download and upload speeds, latency, security and more. The centre also has Claris Tech team on hand, offering support and guidance, as well as a chance to trial Claris connectivity portal, providing effective and simple network management. Claris provides wireless connectivity solutions for businesses solving connectivity challenges like poor quality phone signal or slow internet speeds. The company's specialist portfolio of connectivity solutions includes low Earth orbit satellite systems like Starlink and OneWeb, which use constellations of satellites to deliver high-speed internet to even the most remote locations and download speeds of 220 Mbps plus. Tech availability for testing at the centre includes a comprehensive showcase of the latest connectivity innovations, including SpaceX's Starlink, private 5G, OneWeb, SDWAN, advanced cellular coverage technology, and state-of-the-art networking equipment. Derek Phillips, Group Managing Director at the Claris Networks Group, said, "We've had major industry players from construction, healthcare, marine, oil and gas, renewables, rail, and more visits to our Bathgate Demonstration Centre. A special highlight was hosting the team from SpaceX, who travelled all the way from Hawthorne, California, to see our innovations firsthand. What's unique about our demonstration centre is that companies are now able to test the art of the possible, giving access to the latest and greatest in connectivity in one location. We want to showcase the many potential use cases of our high-speed, low-latency, secure solutions, making the tech accessible to companies of all sizes. All our connectivity solutions are seamlessly managed by a bespoke client portal, providing customers with a single pane of glass to manage all their global communication assets. The demonstration centre has allowed Claris to make 10 new hires over the past month, with recruitment continuing. This follows Scotland's headquarter Claris tripling revenue in 2023 and making a number of senior appointments earlier this year. Future plans include opening a second office location in Scotland, as well as expanding the demonstration centre with the addition of even more technology for testing. The Claris Network Group was established in 2014 by husband and wife team Derek and Deborah Phillips, delivering network services for businesses. Claris works across a wide range of sectors to provide network design, installation and support services, including land, marine and mobility. Companies interested in visiting the demonstration centre can register interest at www.claris-network.com/demo-centre/.
Amen. Disability no bar to ambition. One hand and one life, and Caleb is loving it. And this is an article by Nicky Tennant. Gutsy young Lanarkshire student Caleb Morrison was born a fighter. Having punched his way out of the womb, as he'd have it, he came into the world as a baby boy with only one hand. Caleb was born with amniotic band syndrome, a rare condition affecting 1 in every 10,000 to 15,000 pregnancies. It can be caused by the baby kicking through the amniotic sac early on in development, causing a ribbon of tissue to form inside the womb in which the baby then gets caught. That means that the fibrous strands of the sac separate and entangle the developing fetus's body parts, most commonly the digits and limbs. I punched out of the womb, which meant that the hand didn't develop properly, explained 23-year-old Caleb. I have a wrist. I have a slightly shortened forearm. No hand, no fingers, but I do have a wrist. Rather than allowing it to define him, Inspirational Caleb is a young person whose disability is empowering. A super fit athlete, he's now plotting a path towards a career in TV production. Buoyed by the cross-Atlantic love and encouragement of the Boston-born girlfriend he met through a gaming site during the pandemic. Growing up in East Kilbride, Caleb was an easy target for some primary school children who'd made fun of him for being different. It wasn't until he transitioned to Duncanrig High that the comments fired at Caleb, who was short in stature, began to sting. Through sport, he found an empowering inner therapy, a coping mechanism that taught him how to give his considerable ability, rather than his disability, a stage. Having participated in the martial art of karate since the age of 4, Caleb became a champion in his early teens. When his karate club shut up shop, he turned his focus to athletics. On sports day, the kids used to hate me for a week because I won every gold medal going for everything, said Caleb, who represented his school at regional events. At the age of 11, he joined White Moss Amateur Athletics Club, AAC, based at the John Wright Sports Centre in East Kilbride, Calderwood. After training with White Moss for a matter of weeks, coaches selected Caleb to represent the club in 2 major long-distance running events, competing against elite young runners from 50 clubs across Scotland to claim 15th place. When I got to high school, I became a bit lazy, he admits. I was really short compared to other boys my age. Some were already 6 feet. Then, at around the age of 14, I got into weightlifting to try and get a bit bigger. That's when my growth spurted. To compensate for his disability, which could make him lopsided when lifting, Caleb used straps rather than a bar. He left school at the earliest opportunity to pursue his love of art at New College, Lanarkshire in East Kilbride. Hungry for the physical challenge of a brutal sport, Caleb explored the possibility of following some of his family members into the boxing ring. But strict rules governing gloves and their padding meant that although he could train, his disability excluded him from fighting competitively. That's why in 2018, Caleb arrived at Muay Thai, a discipline known as the art of 8 limbs. It is characterised by the combined use of fists, elbows, knees and shins. A Thai martial art and full-contact combat sport that uses stand-up striking, sweeps and various clinching techniques. I came from a karate background, so I was good with kicks, he explained. It was good for me because of the disability. I didn't feel I was at a disadvantage. 11 months in, I felt good, and I was starting to beat people in sparring. Having made an impressive entrance in his first major fight, his opponent was heavier and more bulky than Caleb, whose right glove was taped onto his wrist. The clash ended badly when an 18-year-old Caleb took a brutal blow to the face, leaving him concussed and with a broken nose. With the pandemic causing him to rethink his study options, Caleb switched to a course that combines sports coaching with science at City of Glasgow College. But with many clubs going to the wall during the pandemic, he found the jobs market squeeze within the sports sector made it highly competitive. Meanwhile, a cyberspace romance was blossoming for Caleb and Catherine Gonzalez, who was born in Providence, Rhode Island. With both her parents hailing from the Dominican Republic, Catherine, whose first language is Spanish, began dating Caleb remotely in February 2020, with the couple meeting face-to-face for the first time in Boston in 2021. We both like rap music, and we just found that we had a lot to talk about, explained Catherine, and I thought he was cute. During the lockdown, Caleb would position his laptop in the centre of the room to ensure his American girlfriend got to know his relatives and felt involved in family activities, even if only facilitated by Zoom. Having taken a job at an inflatable park to help driving lessons in 2022, Caleb passed his test first time and now is the owner of an automatic Nissan Note with a specially adapted steering wheel which lets him drive with one hand. During her recent stay with the Morrison family in East Kilbride, Catherine and Caleb set sail on a cruise to Amsterdam, where they spent time with his older brother Aaron. Rather than apply for a university course that could lead to a career as a PE teacher in the UK, dedicated PE classes are not part of the curriculum in all schools in the US, where he hopes to eventually set up home with 23-year-old Catherine. Instead, he was drawn to a broadcasting course at the University of the West of Scotland Ayr campus. Having recently completed his first year, which focused on radio and television, Caleb is aiming for a master's degree and a career in TV production. Asked whether he believed he would have packed so much into his 23 years had it not been for his disability, Caleb said probably not. To be honest, I think I would have been lazy. Like a lot of people, lockdown caused me to change direction. Because of my disability, you feel you have to prove something. I think I've done that. But I'm having fun along the way. And there's a photograph of Caleb with his Catherine and holding also holding his driving test certificate, and Caleb and Catherine together.
No decision until flood risk report in, an article by Stuart Somerville. A landscaping and horticulture company aiming to build a net zero business in the countryside has been given more time to provide vital flood risk reports for the site it wants to develop. GMCB believe that moving to a single site in Stonyburn, in sight of the Five Sisters Zoo, will allow the firm to become self-sufficient and become a net zero company by cutting vehicle use by thousands of miles per year. An agent for the business said the site would allow the firm to compost its own green waste, as well as rear trees and shrubs for planting on its client project sites. At the moment, the firm has to use premises near Edinburgh to compost green waste. Planners stressed that they had no issues with the proposals for planting and composting, but did not agree with plans for 2 large sheds, which would be used to store equipment and fertilisers. GMCB applied for planning permission for a green waste composting area, additional horticulture production areas, erection of office equipment storage building, yard and enclosure to the land northwest of Auchenhard Farm, Stonyburn. The site has been cleared and the firm has already put in additional trees and shrubs to screen the area from the B road running through Stonyburn. Officers told a meeting of the Council's Development Management Committee that drainage and flooding reports had yet to be provided. Concerns were also raised about vehicle use in such a remote part of the county. Colin Hardy, an agent for the applicants, pointed out that the drainage and flood risk reports covered only a small part of the site, 1.4% of the total area. Mr. Hardy said this next step allows them to be self-sufficient. It allows them to recycle all their own green waste to turn it into compost. Currently, they use a facility on the far side of Edinburgh because of limited facilities in West Lothian. They will rear their own trees and shrubs on this site. Between these 2 measures alone, the company will save over 30,000 commercial vehicle miles a year. GMCB is a local family business set up in 2004 and currently employs 30 people with plans to expand, including using the single facility in Stonyburn. Mr. Hardy added that the planned sheds on the site were specifically to house large trailers. Company vehicles are usually taken home by employees. The trailers are currently stored at an industrial facility nearby. Mr. Hardy said this project takes major steps towards the company being net zero. They work throughout central Scotland with many blue-chip clients, including Historic Scotland. Planners had refused planning permission because of the storage sheds and the lack of technical reports. Councillor Lawrence Fitzpatrick proposed a delay of 2 months to allow the submission of these reports. This was supported by Councillor Pauline Stafford, who said, "I would support this position. I'm minded to try to support this business to find a way to justify the buildings, possibly bringing down the height." And committee agreed to delay a decision until September.
Promises over new houses, an article by Stuart Somerville. The new Bangor village will be the most connected community in West Lothian when it's completed. Planners have demanded that the 1,000 homes in the village will have access to EV charging points or the infrastructure to develop them. The approval of changes to house styles in the plans for the first 100 homes also revealed the plans to future-proof the huge new housing estate as the rollout of electric vehicles continues and the phasing out of petrol and diesel cars looms in the next decade. The Development Management Committee approved the application by BDW Trading Limited to grant an application for a substitution of house types and revised layout for 100 houses in the first phase of the Bangor Village development. Conditions attached to the proposal demand that the developers come back to the council with specific proposals about building a network of EV charging points. The condition seeks assurances that where off-street parking is provided, 1 in every 6 residential units shall have an active, ready-to-use electric vehicle charging point, 7 kilowatt, located either in a garage or in close proximity to a dedicated car parking place within the driveway of the property and connected to the domestic electricity supply via a dedicated circuit. Conditions further demand for all other residential units with off-street parking, passive provision, cabling and individual fuse box provided, shall be provided to enable easy conversion to an active charging point should demand manifest itself. And for on-street parking, 1 in every 6 spaces shall have a fully connected, active and ready-to-use electric vehicle charging point, 7 kilowatt. Planners also demanded electric vehicle parking spaces should be counted as part of the overall car parking provision and not in addition to it. And details of who will be responsible for managing and maintaining charging infrastructure, including details of managing access to charging spaces and arrangements for paying for the electricity used during charging. A report to the committee by Planning Officer Gillian Syphus explained the reasons for the latest application. She said some of the house type changes are as a result of a change in house builder. The majority of the layout changes are as a result of a reduction in the service strip requirements, meaning that houses and driveways are able to be brought forward, creating larger rear private gardens. Overall, the total number of units on this part of the Bangor development will be reduced by 2. Councillors agreed the proposals without comment.
Housing Ministers meeting over RAC. Scottish Housing Minister Paul McLennan met West Lothian Council last week to discuss the problem of crumbling concrete found in council and private homes. The meeting follows a motion put forward by the Council's Conservative group leader, which was backed by the ruling Labour group, calling for more practical help for homeowners facing big bills following the discovery of RAC in council homes. But while the Scottish Government promised to work with insurance companies and housing surveyors, there was little solid financial reassurance to help home owners. Tory group leader Damien Doran-Timpson urged the minister to meet homeowners to hear their stories. The council leader, Labour's Lawrence Fitzpatrick, described the initial talks as constructive. Hundreds of formal council and housing association homes in the county have been sold in the last 40 years. Many who thought they were investing in their future now find themselves in a financial minefield. Earlier this year, the council identified tenanted homes in Bathgate, Broxburn, Linlithgow and Craigshill, Livingston. Work is expected to start in August on a £4 million refurbishment programme of council homes discovered to have crumbling concrete roofs in West Lothian. The programme will focus on 69 individual properties and 15 blocks of flats. The work is expected to take almost 2 years. An estimated 150 private homeowners face having to pay for structural surveys and potentially remedial work on their former council homes. Many have found that their building's insurance does not cover costs, and homes they bought as an investment can now be sold. The West Lothian Courier has highlighted growing protests in communities where the RAC homes are concentrated, as local residents have banded together to campaign for help. Councillor Doran-Timpson said, with Paul McLennan, SNP Minister for Housing, meeting with West Lothian Council, the Labour administration, I am hoping that something will be done, at least for the homeowners with RAC in West Lothian. It is simply unacceptable for the homeowners to be ignored and not supported during this incredibly stressful time. As well as offering support for surveys, I also want the Minister to meet with the homeowners in Craigshill and hear what they're going to do firsthand. Councillor Fitzpatrick struck a more optimistic note. He said, "Our meeting with the Minister for Housing to discuss RAC was constructive, and senior housing officers set out the concerns that local homeowners have raised with the Council, particularly a way forward and support available from the Scottish Government. This is not an issue that is affecting only homeowners in West Lothian. People across the country are affected by this issue, and it's important that the Scottish Government takes the point forward, especially in terms of support that they and professional bodies can provide homeowners in Scotland. Council officers will be engaging with Scottish Government officials over the summer holiday period, and an update will be reported to the Council Executive." A spokesperson for the Minister told the Courier, "We recognise that this will be a worrying time for those who have concerns about RAC in their homes. Ministers have held constructive discussions with West Lothian Council and will continue to work together to support the affected households, recognising the importance of house owners having access to appropriate advice, guidance and information on RAC. We are working with the Institution of Structural Engineers, the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, the Association of British Insurers and UK Finance through the cross-sector working group so that homeowners are supported appropriately. Where homeowners are notified that their home may contain RAC, we expect the local authority to provide advice on the next step that they can take."
Vital role of past in future. And this is an article by a staff reporter. "We need to teach young people about Scotland's colonial history, and the culture sector can help." That was what Lothian MSP Faisal Chowdhury said at the African and Caribbean Heritage Public Engagement event at the National Museum of Scotland recently. It included insightful discussions, theatre and musical performances, and a walking tour around Edinburgh to explore the rich African Caribbean heritage throughout the city. The event heard Mr. Chowdhury speak on the importance of celebrating diversity in Scotland, amplifying voices that have historically been ignored, and using arts and culture to educate young people about Scotland's colonial history and the link to modern racism. Mr. Chowdhury rooted museums, historical attractions and cultural events are vital forms of education which can help inform young people on Scotland's role in the horrors of the British Empire's colonialism, so they can confront the unfair systems of power at the foundation of our modern society. There's important work happening throughout the culture sector to develop engaging educational experiences on colonialism, including the Glasgow City of Empire and exhibition at Kelvin Grove. I'm passionate about supporting similar initiatives at cultural institutions across Scotland. Sweeping Scotland's colonial history under the rug will not erase it, and it will not fix modern issues of racism and inequality which have colonial roots. Shedding light on these dark histories and educating young people about Scotland's colonial past is essential to better prepare the next generation to participate in the important work of anti-racism and building a more progressive, just and inclusive Scotland. As Scottish Labour's Shadow Culture Minister and as the convener of the Scottish Parliament's cross-party group on challenging racial and religious prejudice, Mr. Chowdhury will continue to advocate for anti-racist education and promote equality for all in Scotland. Hooray!
Exam results help available, an unattributed article. A dedicated helpline will open to support thousands of pupils and students across West Lothian set to receive their full higher, national and advanced results on Tuesday, August the 6th. The young people, along with their parents and carers, will be able to get support with their results through Skills Development Scotland, SDS, dedicated results helpline that will be offering impartial career information, advice and guidance. The SDS Results Helpline will once again be staffed by expert careers advisors and will be live from 8 a.m. on Tuesday, August the 6th to assist anybody that needs help with their options and next steps. The team of qualified advisors from Scotland's National Skills Agency will be at the end of the phone line to offer advice about colleges and universities, UCAS confirmation and clearing, apprenticeships, jobs and other training, volunteering or staying on at school. Dave McCallum, Head of Career Information, Advice and Guidance Operations at SDS, said, "Our message for young people and their parents and carers as the results arrive is not to panic. Everything might seem overwhelming right now, but remember that this is just one step on your journey." The number for the 2024 Results Helpline is 0808 100 8000 and will be open Tuesday and Wednesday, August 6th and 7th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Thursday and Friday, August 8th and 9th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In addition to the dedicated SDS Results Helpline, young people and their parents or carers can also speak to an SDS advisor at an SDS centre or community venue.
French Connection back at Designer Outlet, another unattributed article. French Connection has returned to Livingston Designer Outlet. Making a reappearance, the store officially opened its doors on June the 29th. Shoppers got to enjoy a sip and shop experience for the first 2 weekends of the shop being open. This included a complimentary glass of bubbles to enjoy whilst browsing the latest collections. Simon Donoghue, Head of Retail at French Connection, said, "The opening of this latest French Connection store at Livingston Designer Outlet marks a thrilling and significant milestone for us. This prime location enables us to engage with a vibrant community while continuing our dedication to an exceptional shopping experience. We are excited to share our vision and bring a memorable experience to our guests in an outstanding setting." French Connection was founded in 1972 with the aim to create design-led, fashionable clothing. Since then, the brand has expanded its portfolio into exciting new areas, including men's and women's toiletries, sunglasses and optical glasses, watches and footwear. The company hopes that the location of the new French Connection at Livingston Designer Outlet will offer a space where visitors can shop accessible, quality products that stand the test of time. Karen Stewart, Centre Manager at Livingston Designer Outlet, said, "We're excited to welcome French Connection back to Livingston Designer Outlet. Their unique blend of stylish fashions and accessories and exceptional quality perfectly aligns with our vision to offer an outstanding shopping experience for our visitors. We are confident that French Connection will become a popular destination for both locals and visitors from afar. This opening marks an exciting new chapter for our outlet and the entire West Lothian community."
By-election nominations open, an article by Stuart Somerville. Nominations for the Armadale and Blackridge by-election have opened. The poll follows the death in May of long-serving councillor Stuart Barrowman. The vote will take place on Thursday, August the 22nd. Prospective candidates can submit nomination papers between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. up until Friday the 19th of July. Nomination papers can be found via the West Lothian Council website, where you can also find the notice of election and other relevant information for candidates and voters. Eligible voters will have until midnight on Tuesday, August the 6th, to make sure they are registered to vote in the by-election. Registering to vote is now very easy. You can register to vote via gov.uk/register-to-vote, or by calling 0131 344 2500 and the Electoral Registration Office will help. Armadale and Blackridge is the westmost of West Lothian's council wards. The ward is the smallest in the county with a total population of 14,819. Armadale is the largest town in the ward. Other settlements include Blackridge, Westridge, Westfield on the borders with Falkirk Council area and Turfickin. It has 3 councillors. Councillor Barrowman has served as an SNP and independent councillor in the ward since 2003. Visit www.westlothian.gov.uk/article/82696//Armadale-and-by-election for all information on the upcoming by-election.
Extension is unveiled at primary school, and no one's claiming this article. More young people will be able to attend Calderwood Primary in East Calder after a planned extension to the school was completed. The school was specifically designed to be expanded in the future when first built, and these plans were brought into place as the projected school roll was now sufficient to require the additional accommodation to be constructed. The additional learning spaces will increase the school's capacity from 462 to 636, making it one of the largest primary schools in West Lothian. To mark the construction work being completed ahead of the new term starting in August 2024, Calderwood staff and pupils were joined by council leader Lawrence Fitzpatrick and some of those involved in the construction process. Calderwood's head teacher, Sarah Burton, added, "We are delighted to have the chance to grow our Calderwood primary family further with this new extension." And there's a photograph of some of the staff and pupils and some of the council folk as well.
No more.
That brings us to the end of this week's recording of the Courier. I'm sure you know a hell of a lot more than you did 2 hours ago if you managed to stay awake. Please, 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 I say this every time, do return your memory sticks. They're quite expensive and we do need them back. I'm sure you know what to do by now, but the most important thing is to turn the address label so that the cut-off corner is on the top right-hand side and pop it in the post box. Yes, you'll hear us again in another 6 weeks. And thank you to Joyce for standing in instead of Paul. And it's goodbye from Bob, and thank you for listening.
Goodbye from Linda.
Goodbye from Wendy.
Goodbye from George.